Okay, we're going to take a look at this. I know this is a challenge for everyone, okay? Yes, there's methods to do these where you do a little trick and blah, 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 and you get your answer. That's all great, but I'm working on trying to get your brain to work because I don't think it's going to often happen in real life that someone says, hey, factor that for me. But in real life, your brain is going to have to think. It is going to have to think of all the different possibilities. And that's what we're going to go for here. All right. So let's start this out. Normally, we take a look at this back number, which is what we would have to do. And we would say, hey, it's going to end in a 1 and 5. The only things that multiply together to give us 5 are 1 and a 5. So, excuse me, we know when we do this binomial times binomial, we're going to have a 1 and a 5. We also know, since everything is addition here, that we're just going to have some additions. So it's going to be so much plus 1 and then so much plus 5. Now, we're used to this just being an n squared, and we're used to this just being an n and an n. Now, this right here would give us n squared plus, in this case, 6n plus 5. But the problem is, in this case, there's a number here and here. And we can see that that's going to come because of the 6. So not only do we have to concentrate on that 5, which we know is a 1 and a 5, we have to think of the possibilities of the front number this time, the A value as we call it. And it's going to be a 6. Well, we could have a 1 and a 6 or a 2 and a 3. So when we do this, we're going to realize that it could be, I'm going to write it though I hate, 1n and 6n. Now, the problem is you could have this 1n and 6n, and instead of the 1 being with the n and the 5 being with the 6n, the 5 could be here and the 1 here. We always have to flip it. We have to flip that second number because that's a whole different, notice that's a whole different two binomials. Now, we also notice have the 2 and the 3. So we could have had a 2n and a 3n. And I wrote it twice because I realized that I could have my plus 1 plus 5 here, but it might be that the 5 is here and the 1 is here. Now, of these possibilities, there's only 4 possibilities. That's all that could happen. Every one of these 4 possibilities will give you 6n squared and give you 5, but only one of them will give us the 13n we desire in the middle. How do we find that? Well, we simply know that's always going to come from these outer numbers multiplied and when these inner numbers multiply. Well, notice that would be 5n and 6n. That would be 11n. That's not what we want. This here would be 30 and 1, so it'd be 31. This would be 2 and 5, which is 10 and 3. 10 and 3 is 13n. Looks like a winner right there. Notice this one would have given you 15n and 2n, which is 17n. Okay? These are the only 4 possibilities that exist. So what we're trying to do is make our minds look at all possibilities. Sort of like in statistics where you look at all possible outcomes of what could happen. We have to think things through. Let's take a look at another example. Now, this time we're going to go ahead and just start with the front. We're going to say, hey, what could have given us a 6 out front? It could have been a single n and 6n, or it could have been a 2n and a 3n. That's what we know. So we know it could have been a single n and 6n. Now, we don't know what's going to go with that. In this case, I sort of do, but you don't. 2n and a 3n. And again, I wrote it because I know that these back numbers right here, these back numbers, they're always going to flip. And here's what I mean by that. These numbers that come in the backside are from the 7. Now, in this case, I've made it nice and simple to where the only possibilities are 1 and 7. So it could be a 1 and a 7, but we always got to flip it and look at the 7 and the 1 because the 1 and 7 can go with the other pieces and it changes. It didn't matter when both of them were ends because if you flipped it, it was the same thing. But now that one of them's an N and the other's a 6N, we have to look at the possibility that they flipped. And here again with 2N and 3N, the 1 could be with that and the 7 here, or the 7 could have been with the 2N and the 1 here. Now, again, we made it a little easy for us. Everything was addition. So in this case, I know there's only 4 possibilities for what this could be. Now, every single one of these 4 possibilities gives you 6n squared and gives you a plus 7 at the end. What we're looking for is which one's going to give us that 43. How do we determine that? Well, that's going to be from the outside and the inside pieces multiplied. The outside will give you 7n plus 6n. That's 13n. You don't want that. This is 42 plus 1. That'd be 43n. Oh, champion. There she is. Notice this one here would have been a 14 and a 3. That would have been 17n, which doesn't work. 21 and a 2, 23n. Notice they're all different. The middle terms for all those 4 are different. The one we wanted, though, was right here. So I know that that 6n squared plus 43n plus 7 factors to the binomial n plus 7 times 6n plus 1. Okay. 5n squared. Well, I know the only things there, that's easy enough, n and a 5n. Now, there's going to be some different possibilities. In this case, I'm going to just tell you ahead of time, I can see that there's going to be 4. How do I know that? Because when I look at what's going to multiply the back for 6, there's could be 1 and 6, and I could go 1 and 6, but I know I'm going to have to flip them, the 6 and the 1. There's also the 2 times 3 to give me a 6. So I could have a 2 here and a 3 here, or the 3 could be there and the 2 here. I always have to flip them. This guy, I'm always going to have to flip those possibilities there. And again, I've made everything addition for us so that we don't have to think too much for these first few. Now, again, all 4 of these possibilities will create the 5n squared and the 6. But who's going to give us the 17n? That's determined by when these multiply and these multiply. That's going to be 6n and 5n. That would give me 11n. This will be 1 and 30. That's 31n. No cigar yet. 13n. Looks like it'll be the last one. 15 and 2 is 17n. Check. And there we have it. That means n plus 3 times quantity 5n plus 2 gives you that up there. That's what it factors to. All right. We have 8n squared. Now the 8 does produce, could be a 1n and an 8n, or it could be a 2n and a what? 4. Notice the 3 is only going to produce a 1 and a 3. So this 1 and 3 is going to go here with the 1n and 8n, and then it's going to have to flip. So that's going to give us 2 possibilities. And then it's going to have to go here with the 2n and 4n, and then flip, which gives us 2 more. So I can see there's only 4 possibilities. So I'm going to have n and 8n. And with it, you're going to have the 1 and the 3, or flip it, 3 and the 1. And again, Mr. Hickam was kind and made everything addition for right now. The other possibility, we had 2n and 4n. Those, when multiplied, gave me the 8n squared up top. And now for the back pieces, it's 1 times 3, or maybe the 3's here and the 1's here. One of these 4 possibilities, and again, there's only 4. There could be up to 12, 20. There could be all kinds. I'm keeping it simple for right now. So let's see what's going to produce 14n. There's 3 and 8. That produced 11n. Nope. 24 and 1, that's 25n, would have been the center for that guy. 4 and 6, that's 10n. Nope. Looks like 12 and 2, that's my 14n. And this is our winner right here. So that top factors down to a 2n plus 3 times the quantity 4n plus 1. Uh-oh, we have a subtraction sign. No big deal. Okay. For the 6, I know there's a single 1n and a 6 and a 2 and a 3. What I do is I know for 5, there's a 1 and 5. Now, one of the pieces is going to be positive, one's negative. Here's how we're going to sort of look at this. So I have 1n and a 6n. And I know that with that, you could have the 1 here and the 5 here, or the 5 and the 1. Then notice I'm not putting in my plus or minus signs. One of them has to be a plus, one has to be a minus. But I'm not going to worry about that quite yet. The other possibility besides n and 6n would be 2n and 3n. And again, these front pieces are what give us that 6n squared up front. And I know that, again, there could be the 1 here and the 5 here, or maybe the 5 is with the 2 and the 1's with the 3. Now, one of them has to be negative, one has to be positive. We're trying to create a positive 7n. Now, notice that if we look at this, this would give me 6n, and that gives me 5n. Can 6n and 5n have a difference of 7n? Now, they have a difference of 1. So there's no way that's working. Notice this. 5 and 6n is 30n and 1n. 30n minus 1n is never going to give you a 7n. 3n, 10n. 10 and 3. Wait, 10 and 3 have a difference of 7. I think this is our guy. Now, I do need it to be positive 7n. So notice that we have here a 10n. The 2n times 5 is 10n, and the 1 times 3 is 3n. We need the positive to be on that 10 and the negative to be on the 3. That tells me that if I put my minus sign right here, that negative 1 times 3 will be the minus 3n. If I put my plus here, that'll be positive 5 times positive 2, which is positive 10n. That will do it. That's how I determine my signs. I simply realize, hey, I have a 3n and a 10n. I needed the 10n to be positive, so I know I put the positive here. So 2n times 5 is positive 10n. And then this would be a minus right here so that you have minus 3n. And that's what it factors to. Okay, again, we have subtraction. And notice we have 4n squared. For 4, there's 1 and 4, 2 and 2. So I could have 1n and a 4n. And then I could have, I'm going to do it again because I know that I'm going to have a second one there. 2n, 2n. Notice with 3, the only thing is a 1 and a 3. So I could have the 1 here, the 3 here, and flip them, 3 and 1. I could have the 1 and 3. Do I really need to flip them? No, because it's just going to be the same thing. Because even if you flip them, these are both 2n's. It doesn't change it. Now, we need a loss of 11. So when we look here, this gives you 3n. Let's just write this, 3n, and that gives you 4n. Is there any way with 3n and 4n you could get 11, adding them or subtracting them, which is going to be subtraction? No. What about here, though? That's 12n, and n and 1 gives you 1n. There you have it. It's going to be this guy right here. Now, who gets the subtraction? We need to lose more because it says you have negative 11. That tells me that this is going to be a minus, so negative 3 times 4 will be negative 12n, and then the plus here, because 1 times n is 1n, positive 1n, and that together will give me the negative 11n, and that's who it's going to be. Two n squared. The only way to create that is an n and a 2n. Okay, there's no other possibilities. So we'll have a few of these. How many? Who knows? I'm going to say there's 4. You could list out more or less and then see what happens. So for 10, there's 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. So I know I could have the 1 and the 10, or the 10's here and the 1's here. Again, those outer numbers we're always going to flip. We could have the 2 and the 5, or flip it, 5 and the 2. Now, since it's subtraction, I don't want to put my signs in there. I want to come back and say, okay, I need to create just a +1. I need to have a difference of 1. Let's see, that's 2 and that's 10n, 10n, and 2n. Any way you're going to create a +1n? No. Here's 20n. And when these multiply, they'll give you 1n. Nope, not happening. Here, 5n. When the enters multiply, 4n. That will create a difference of 1. What's going to happen is I'm going to put a minus here and an addition there because that'll give me negative 4n. And n times 5 will give me the positive 5n. And that positive 5n with negative 4n gives me my n there. So I see the possibilities. Notice this would have been 10 and 2. So the best I could do is an 8, either a positive 8 or a negative 8. Okay, we got a lot of possibilities here because for 6, notice there's 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. For 12, 1 times a 12, 2 times a 6, 3 times a 4. Then notice we're going to pair this 1 and 12 up with the 1n and 6n, but then we're going to have to flip them. So that's going to give us 2. And then I'm going to do that with the 1 and 6, and then flip them. That's going to give me 2. And then 3 and 4 with that, and then flip them. Another 2. So that alone, these 3 with that, since they have to flip, that's going to give us 6 possibilities. And then we got to come back and do this guy with him. 2 possibilities, another 2, another 2. That's going to be 12 possibilities. Oh my goodness. I'm not worried about it, but there's a lot of possibilities. But it won't take me long to find them, especially the more I do it, the better I become with it. Now I know with this, again, there's going to be 6 here. All right. So let's look at these 6 and see if maybe it's one of these to begin with. Now, again, how do I know there's 6? Because I can see there's going to be a 1 and 2 and then flip it, 1 and 12. And then I'm going to flip it 12 and 1. There's going to be 2 and 6, flip it, 6 and 2. 3 and 4, flip it, 4 and 3. So again, there's going to be, now luckily it's all addition, 1 and 12, or maybe 12 and then 1 here. Or it could be the 2 and the 6, or flip it, the 6 and the 2. Or 3 and the 4, or maybe the 4's here and the 3's here. It's all addition. We need a total of 17. Okay, so let's see, that's 6 and 12. 6 and 12 would be 18n. That would be our center there. 72 and 1, that'd be 73n. That's not working. 12 and 6. 12 and 6 is, 18, close. Again, 36 and 2 is 38n. 18 and 4, 22, 24 and 3, that give us 27 in the center. None of it's 17. Darn. Well, we'll try to list them right here. What about, it's obviously going to be a 2n and a 3n. And again, we know that there's going to be 6 here because you'll have the 1 and 12, flip it, 12 and 1. Then 2 and 6, flip it. Every single time. Yes, this takes some time, but it's all about developing our thinking abilities. Right? Again, we can do little tricks, but I'm not worried about tricks. So again, 1 and 12, 12 and 1. 2 and 6 will give me the 12, or maybe the 6 is here and the 2's here. And finally, maybe the 3 and 4, or maybe the 4's here and the 3's here. One of these guys is going to give us a 17 in the center. Let's see. That's 24 and 3. That'd be 27 in. Nope. 36 and 2's 38. Nope. 6 and 12. Nope. 18 and 4. Nope. 9 and 9 and 8. There she is right there. These are all additions. So it's going to be a 2n plus 3 times a 3n plus 4. We saw that there were 12 possibilities, quite a few. And again, when we listed 6 out, we knew it was 1 and 6, 2 and 3. 12, we had all these. So we knew that this going there was going to be give me 2 possibilities, another 2, another 2. And then again, with him 2, and with him 2, and with him 2. So we could see that there were going to be 12 possibilities. One more problem. Okay. Again, 12 possibilities. How do I know that? Because I can see, we put in red. I can see with 15 that there's going to be 1 in 15, but also 3 and 5. With 12, we just did 12, which was 1 in 12, 2 and 6, 3 times 4. If I pair those up, I'm then going to have to flip them. So that's 2 possibilities going with the 1 and 5. Another 2 there, another 2 there. That's 6. And then going with the 3 and 5, 2, going with the 3 and 5, 2, going with the 3 and 5, 2. So let's see what it's going to be. Now we got a big 41 there. Okay. So we're going to just think it through. An N and a 15N. Now, personally, I don't think it's going to be one of those, but practice is going to make us perfect. At this point, y'all are fast forwarding. I know what you're doing. Okay, I know that with the N and 15N, there could be the 1 in 12, or maybe the 12's here and the 1's here. Could be 2 and 6, or it could be the 6 and 2. Could be the 3 and the 4, or maybe the 4's here and the 3's here. Let's check these. We need 41. There's 15N and 12N, not happening. Whoop, too big, too big. Would you know how to do 12 times 15 out of curiosity? Well, notice that every pair of 15 is 30, so 6 things of 30 is an easier way to look at it. So I know it's 181 total, 180 plus the 1N. All right, 30 and 6, 36. That was close. 6 and 15, nope, that's 90 plus the 2. Nope, not happening. 45 and 4, nope. It would maybe work if that had been a subtraction in here somewhere, but nope, everything's addition. And then 60 and 3, nope, not happening. Sorry. So we'll go to 3N and 5N. Three N, 5N. And I know there's 6. We're going to stop at 4. We're going to see, does it hit by chance of 1 in 12 or 12 here and 1 here, 2 and 6, or 6 and 2? And we know the next one would be 3 and 4, or 4 then 3. I bet it is. Again, I'm just doing these. I don't know the answers. So this is 5 and 36. Oh, we hit it because 5 and 36 is 41. So that actually breaks down to a quantity 3N plus 1 times a quantity 5N plus 12. That is what that factors to. Now, look, I know this is difficult. I know it takes time, but it's all about making your mind think. That's what this is about to me.